Well, I've been thinking about it, and it's time for me to come clean and admit it. I mean, it's definitely time to admit that I'm overweight. I've known it for some time, I just didn't want to admit it, but now I'm ready to admit it. And it's official. My tackle box weighs... That's just too much weight to be carrying around, and I've got to do something about it. So today, we're going to fix the problem. Okay, there you have it. The contents of my tackle box. This is not all my tackle. This is what I carry around. And to be honest with you, I've got a lot more tackle than this. This is like bare minimum for what I do. The way I've always approached it is I go out and I grab my tackle box and then whatever rods I'm using. If I'm going down on the river to fish on a jetty for catfish, I know I'm going to need my big catfish box with hooks and big weights and corks. I grab my shad net, I grab my 8-foot meat hunter rods. But I never go down there that I don't take my spinning reel and a bass rod, because I'm always trying to catch a bass around the jetty, so I bring the whole box. Then let's say I go up and fish in the mountains on a clear stream like the Mulberry or an upper Clear Creek or Frog Bayou, Lee Creek. I usually pack my entire tackle box, and then when I get there I grab what I want and stick it in a small box. And that way when I'm there I'll have one like this to hold spinner baits. Because inevitably when I get there, I say I'm going to fish topwater. I don't catch anything on topwater, so then I need soft plastics. So I'll run back to the truck and I'll dig out something like that. Let's say a ultra crawl. And okay, now I've got that, and now I can go back to fishing. So I always carry the whole box. And just to be honest with you, it's too much. If I'm crappie fishing, if I'm walking down river rock, if I'm in a pond in my boat, I've got this whole box in there with all this stuff. And I carry some off. I carry a bottle of water. I have a big stringer. You never know when you're going to hang a flathead, and so I have a big 12-foot stringer in there. I've just got all this stuff. And I got to do something about it. It's just too much, especially when you're walking around a pond. And so what I did was I went to a thrift store. Here it's called Savers. Savers, you donate clothing or household items or whatever, and then they sell it, and some of the money goes to like Big Brothers Big Sisters or something like that. So I went to Savers and I bought me some backpacks. And no, I didn't pay $3.97 for that. I paid $2.99 for that. So it's just a little bitty small backpack. And they had these there, and I bought 2 of those. And then I bought a bigger backpack. This is a JanSport, a little nicer than that knockoff one there. I paid $4.99 for the JanSport. You know, it has the outside pocket, big compartment on the inside for my big trays. Then I bought another JanSport, a little bit bigger than that one, and a little more stuff. It's got more padding on the straps. And I paid $6.99 for it. So I'm going to go from one big box that holds everything to backpacks that are specific to what I'm fishing. Let me break it down and organize it. I'll go through here and I'll get things the way I want them. I'll get the bags labeled for what they are, and I'll bring you back once I got it all sorted and we'll look at them. It looks like I'm going on a trip, but I'm not. We got the entire tackle box broke down and divided up by category based on where we're fishing and what we're fishing for. Let me show you what I ended up with and why I went the direction I went. This blue bag is my crappie, river jig, sand bass type box. I keep a stringer in the front, and I keep some, I don't know, hook getters. I try to keep one of those in every box. This is really, really small finesse jigs, and then tons of corks. So there's your outside packet. I'm all the time going back and forth between a cork or no cork, so it's easy to keep that in the front. We open up the top of the box, and we have corks and jigs. These are primarily tube jigs or tied jigs in here. In here we have bigger lead heads, roadrunners, spinners, grubs, shimmy shad, more that type of lure. And so I cleaned that out too. A lot of stuff that I just had 2 or 3 left in a pack. I chunked it, made a note of it, and so I really lightened up or emptied out a lot of the older, just nasty stuff. Anyways, I picked the bigger bag for the crappie river because a lot of times I'm walking around the pond with this, and so it's better to have the nicer straps than these smaller black packs. Plus, if I'm out in my boat, this is a lot easier to. I've got a lot more room in it. I can put water and stuff down in there. It's just more room all the way around. The next pack, this is what I picked to be my creek fishing. Not river fishing, creek fishing. So when you think of this, you're thinking clear water, smaller fish. I'm going the furthest from the truck, so I picked this bag. It was the better, had the better straps, more room. And so in here, in this front pocket, same thing. I don't keep any of these fish from the Mulberry River or Kings River. These are all smallmouth. I won't keep any, but I do have something to get a hook out with if it's in there. And then mainly crawdad baits. I use a lot of craw baits. And so anything crawdad related is in the front as far as the bait itself goes. And then in the big pack, we have 2 boxes. The first box, as you can see, I hope you can see through that. This is topwater and little crankbaits. You're talking about grasshoppers, poppers. Crawdad crankbaits are great in every creek. If you're not fishing with those, you're wrong. Jerk baits, the smaller ones, a couple frogs, little buzz baits, and a couple jigs. Then in the other box, it is all smaller soft plastics, jig heads, worm hooks. These are things that resemble minnows. I even have some tube jigs in here in kind of a neutral color. But when we're fishing in these clear creeks, we're not using the bright, loud jigs like we would use for crappie on the river. So it's totally different box. And I keep all my little jig heads in that little tic-tac box. Anyways, that gives me room to put lunch, to put a water bottle, make sure I got my deep woods off in there. And I keep this in there empty with a clip on the top. And if, let's say there's just a big deep hole and I want to walk around it, I'll just grab a couple of lures and stick in this little box, clip it on my belt buckle, and off I go. So the reason that's the bigger bag is because that's the times that I get further from the truck. That's what I'll need to carry the most in and be the most comfortable in. That brings us to our last 2 boxes, and these were the little $2.99 backpacks. They're just big enough to get one big tray in. This is the catfishing bag. So I have the big stringer, I have an old stringer in there, I have a couple sets of pliers. Now when you're catfishing, you want a bigger set of pliers than when you're trying to get them out of a crappie. So use those. I have a couple of pocket knives in here. I think these have a set of pliers and pocket knife on them. I don't really see me using that much, but it's there if I need it. I have a pocket knife in every bag, just in case, because you never know. Then in here, I have, of course, you saw the big tray full of big hooks, big sinkers. You know, I've got 4 6-ounce sinkers in here. But also I have this, and this is the bait fishing box. This has little corks in it, small hooks, split shots. Sometimes when I'm catfishing, when the bites are slow, and I'm on the bank, so I don't just pick up anchor and go down the river. I'm there for the duration. A lot of times when the bites are slow, I'll try to catch brim or bluegill on the bank. And so I keep that little bait box with small hooks in it. You bass fishermen will freak out. That's the entirety of my largemouth bass kit right there. In the front is soft plastics. I think I've got a umbrella rig in there, but the rest are just various soft plastic baits that I use. Now keep in mind, this is what works for me. I'm a bank fishing guy 95% of the time. So I'm just going to back up to a pond in my pickup, get out, walk around the bank, and walk back. In the top, there's worm hooks, jigs, lead heads, swivels, whatever you need, worm weights, are all in there. That allowed me to put everything in one tray. I took all my spinner baits and buzz baits and just put them in a Ziploc baggie. And the reason I use a Ziploc baggie is because if you put them loose in your tackle box, I live on a dirt road. This rides in the back of my truck. Your spinner baits will look yuck after a year. So just stick them in a Ziploc baggie. Then all the big bass, I say big bass, but I mean bigger lures, rattle traps, bigger stick baits, chatter baits, all that is in there in that one tray. And all that will fit in here. And I don't see me carrying this around. You know, this is just going to set in the truck, basically, until I'm ready to use it. So there you have it. That was everything in the tackle box that weighed almost 22 pounds. We put it all in these backpacks. And so, it's not to say I may not take 2 backpacks, maybe even 3 backpacks when I go. But with the catfish pack, I can just drop that in a bucket with my shad net and all the stuff that I need. If I am going to go out in my P-row, and let's say I want a crappie fish and I may want a bass fish, I'll just grab the crappie box. There you go, and grab the bass box, and I can go fish on the river. Also, I worked in a lot more of these. This bag was full. Now it's about half full, I guess. I worked a lot of the soft plastics out of this bag into my backpacks for whether I use them in the small creeks or bass fishing in ponds or on the river. So anyways, I actually have more tackle in here than I had. I figured out what I was short on. There's some certain colors of tube jigs that I use a lot. I don't have many of them left. I'm short on a couple of different sizes of worm hooks I need to get. So I kind of took inventory of my tackle, broke it up into manageable units, and I think I'll be a lot better off this way. Now, if I had a boat and I primarily fished out of a boat, my old tackle system would be fine. But I wanted to go buy some new tackle boxes. And man, the small ones, I mean, what I put in this $2.99 backpack, it would cost me like 25 or 30 bucks to buy some name brand little soft-sided tackle bag, and that's just nuts. So $6.99, $4.99, what is that? $11, $12, $11? Yeah, 12 bucks. $2.99, $2.99, $3, $18. For $18, I have it all here, and I know it doesn't look fancy, and I don't have somebody's name on the front, but hey, it works. And I'm not picking up, that 21 pounds gets heavy when you're reaching over in the bed of your truck to get it, picking it up. Now I think this will be much more manageable. The only thing I'm concerned about, I need to put catfish, I need to put bass on this and catfish on this. I'd hate to go bass fishing and all I had was stuff for bait fishing. So anyways, I have to testify now and say, boy, taking care of that weight problem has really helped me, and I feel better already. And you should too. Take care of your weight problem, just like I did today. Thanks for watching.